Fight!
Maybe I'm just full of shit.
Two different worlds.
Welcome back to my channel.
Welcome back!
Welcome back, guys. Today we're gonna talk about, is it fair for a transgender woman to compete with a female?
Great. It's going to be great.
That's going to be great.
It's going to be great.
Now, this topic is very sensitive. Everybody has their own personal opinions. My personal opinion is absolutely not. It is not fair. I'm not looking at it from an emotional point of view. I'm just looking at it from a reality point of view.
It's science, people!
From a biological point of view.
Science!
I think that's unfair. But hey, maybe I'm wrong. You know, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it's fair. Maybe I'm just full of shit.
You are full of shit.
Who knows? Maybe females and transgenders are equal and they're gonna have an equal outcome of wins and losses. Because if they don't, then there's something wrong there. But who knows? Maybe I'm wrong. Let's see. She broke 4 women's record.
And a biological male has just become the first transgender person to win a world title in cycling.
First transgender weightlifter winning her maiden international event as a woman.
A biological male winning a gold medal in a women's event now seems a matter of when, not if.
Since sports events began, men and women have been segregated by gender to make the competitive events fairer due to differences in muscle mass, innate strength, or testosterone levels. But nowadays, these physical differences no longer seem to be a determining factor.
There are all kinds of reasons that people have advantages. Somebody's parents can give them year-round training. Somebody else is really, really tall and someone's really, really short.
Sport has never been fair. You bought into that myth, so have a lot of other people. But let's face it, if I wanted to be a jockey, I couldn't be. Nature endows her gifts unevenly in society.
It's true that some physical characteristics give athletes an unusual advantage in sports, like Michael Phelps' long arms or Usain Bolt's height.
It is true. Even in a male sport, man to man, there is advantages and disadvantages, but the closest we could bring it to is weight class. That's the closest. You might be 200 pounds wide and short, while the other guy is 200 pounds, but he's tall and skinny. That's the closest we could bring it to. But putting a 200-pound guy versus a 100-pound guy, that's unfair all the way around. And now we're completely bypassing those rules. We're putting 2 completely different genders together, 2 different worlds together in a physicality way. I find that pretty messed up.
But the genetic difference of being born as a male or female and competing with the opposite gender proved to be more of a determining factor than any bodily developments in sports.
If you go through puberty, you have all the benefits of having a male body. And even if you transition and reduce your testosterone, you're still going to have those benefits. You're going to have the bone structure, the slightly bigger heart, more red blood cells. So therefore, a female athlete competing against a transgender female is always going to be at a disadvantage.
Testosterone levels are important because the amount of the hormone defines the eligibility of athletes to compete whenever sporting events are limited to a single sex, following IAAF rulings.
The idea that we need to protect women's or female sport from other women and females is itself inherently discriminatory. No testosterone policy will ever work.
Male to female athletes no longer need to have reassignment surgery, but they do need to demonstrate that their testosterone levels have been below 10 nanomole per litre for at least 6 months, according to the 2016 International Olympic Committee guidelines.
It's not saying you're a man or a woman. It's saying you can compete. It's a matter of eligibility to participate in certain competitions.
In the case of female to male athletes, they can compete without restrictions.
But 10 nanomoles per litre, as I understand it, something like 90% of female athletes, their testosterone levels are around 3 nanomoles per litre. So in other words, this upper limit is 3 times what would be typical in a female athlete. So it seems like a kind of arbitrary setting unrelated to the realities of the situation.
Well, I actually agree with you there.
But what happens with student athletes who decide to change their gender? Well, the rules are not clear at all. Most countries don't have clear regulations. And the biggest student sports organisation in the US, the NCAA, does not require gender confirmation or a legal recognition of a player's transitioned sex in order for transgender players to participate on a team that matches their identity. Just 1 year of hormone treatment prior to competing on a female team.
If I'm completely wrong,
pure fiction.
And it's actually fair for a transgender woman to go against a female, why is it that all of a sudden now they're dominating every category in the female sport?
In the middle of all this legal mess, Zuby, a UK-based rapper, basically identified as a female and broke British women's weightlifting records.
Saying, look, I'm not a professional powerlifter, but even I myself, I can stroll into the gym on any given day and I can break the British women's bench press record. I can break the British women's deadlift record. When I'm on form, I could potentially break the British female squat record. And I don't even compete.
So if you're a woman and you're a natural woman and you don't take any extra hormones or male hormones, you're not taking steroids or any sort of performance enhancing drugs, you're doing your very best to compete and you're at the top of the heap. But then someone comes along that was a man for 30 years and decides that they're going to be a woman, and this has happened, and literally transitioned a few months ago and competes as a woman and destroys records and dominates you in that sport. That's bullshit.
And that's what I'm saying. It's pretty messed up for women. I feel like it's taking opportunities for women. Everybody wants to move with emotion. I think what is fair is men compete with men, women compete with women, and transgenders compete with transgenders. Lightweight goes against lightweight. Middleweight goes against middleweight. Heavyweight goes against heavyweight. Man compete with man. Female competes with female. Transgender competes with transgender.
Okay.
That is equal. Physically, emotionally, it's all over the place. My question is, what happens when transgenders dominate the whole sport?
But at the bare minimum, a Marine's got to be able to do 3 pull-ups.
Why I want to ensure that every Marine is successful at maxing out their pull-ups on their PFDs.
But more than half the female recruits couldn't do it. So the Marines are pushing back the day when it becomes mandatory.
If you have a failure rate of 55% and 99% of the men are succeeding, obviously this is not going to work.
Men have to do 3 pull-ups minimum to pass the Marines fitness test. It takes 20 to earn a perfect score. Women had to meet the same minimum, but only need 8 pull-ups to score perfect. Because so few pass, the Marines will let them choose to hang on the bar for 15 seconds and pass without doing any pull-ups.
A transgender woman comes from being able to do 20 push-ups, and then she moves into being a female and competes in the female world. And who's in the female world? A bunch of human beings that can potentially only do 8 pull-ups. And what is going to be the result? The transgender that comes from a male habitat is going to dominate. And how is that fair? I don't fucking know.
Wide grip stance that works best for you.
Marine Corps officials admit pull-ups are better, and the flexed arm hang elicits little muscular strength adaptations necessary for common military tasks, such as pulling oneself over obstacles or carrying equipment.
Recently, Congress has mandated that all branches of the military review policies that restrict female members' service. The Marine Corps, that means integrating women into the infantry. This summer, several volunteers are the first women to train for the infantry and will join their brothers in arms this fall. But not everybody believes this latest step towards equal rights is a good idea, including a female Marine officer who has been on the front lines. And what you point out in this article is that you went through some of the rigorous training that the men did, and what happened to you?
I've faced a lot of weight loss, muscle atrophy. I also developed polycystic ovarian syndrome, which for me resulted in infertility. It's a type of combat environment these days that's very strenuous, and I was only doing a portion of what our infantry brothers do.
Air Force making some big changes to its physical fitness test. The standard one used to include push-ups, sit-ups, and running a mile and a half. But soon candidates will have options. Instead of running, they can walk. Push-ups can be replaced with holding themselves up in that position and doing alternate arm lifts. And they can do planks instead of sit-ups. Dana, the military commanders in China are laughing at us.
We have the results this morning of a one-of-a-kind Marine Corps experiment that will help determine the future of women in combat. The study compared men and women fighting side by side. The final report released yesterday says men performed significantly better and got hurt less often.
Now the results are in, and for those arguing that women should be able to perform all the same combat jobs as the men, the news is discouraging. It was as close to war as you could get. Fire in the hole! An unprecedented scientific study. Men and women enlisted Marines side by side for months of simulated battle.
6.
And throughout, researchers watched and recorded their performance to help determine what impact women would have on combat. Even then, the women realized they were at a disadvantage.
It's not that we can't carry the weight. We can carry the weight, but it's the pace. Especially when we're matched up with the males. You're looking at our size, and we have males that are almost 6 foot with longer strides, and it's hard to catch up with them and keep up with them.
That is what the results show. In almost every area, the all-male units performed significantly better than those with both men and women Marines. The men were faster in each tactical movement, had better accuracy, and were quicker. They registered more hits on target and had a noticeable difference in their performance of overcoming obstacles and evacuating casualties. The Marines commissioned the study after then Defense Secretary Leon Panetta in 2013 ordered the military to open all combat jobs to women.
We must open up service opportunities for women as fully as possible.
Most branches are ready to comply.
An all-boys netball team is allowed to compete against an all-girls team for the state title. Now, the all-boys team wins every match, running up huge score lines, including a 30-goal victory in the grand final. All the while, parents watch on. They're angry, but they're powerless from the sidelines. Now, it all sounds like a bit of fiction, doesn't it? A Hollywood movie. That's exactly what happened at the Queensland netball titles earlier this week, where the all-male Queensland Suns blitzed their all-female competitors to be crowned the Queensland Under-18 state champions. Now, it's been labelled crazy and unfair, but Netball Queensland is refusing to apologise. Catherine, you may have been a netballer in your day. I was. I played mixed netball, but I don't know if I'd like to be in a team of women going up against a team of athletic men. Who in their right mind thought this was okay?
Well, look, I was a field hockey player, but what I'd like to say is that when Netball Australia says this is all about inclusion, who's being included here? Because it's certainly not the women and girls.
The biological changes that males go through during puberty are so significant, they gain an insurmountable advantage in strength and in speed.
Did I go through puberty as a male? Yes. But in order to say that I have an advantage because I was born with testosterone is the equivalent of saying that, oh, I went to this gym one time and I lifted and I had a protein shake, so I should never have to take a protein shake again because it's in my body. And the medicine I'm taking stops that testosterone. I don't have that anymore. Like, my entire body, my entire mind, my entire way of thinking is different because of the medicine I'm on.
Being born a man isn't the same as drinking a protein shake. No way in hell. A protein shake is not gonna increase my strength nor my speed. Protein. Being born a man is something that's in you and stays with you no matter what. Yeah, you could reduce it, but you're still gonna have male physicality. You do have an advantage.
U.S. runner Allison Felix is an inspiration to me. She's the fastest female sprinter in the world. Her lifetime best for the 400 meters is 49.26 seconds. But based on 2018 data, nearly 300 high school boys in the U.S. alone could beat that record. What we are talking about then is not just boys taking women's trophies, though they are. And we aren't talking about biological boys taking women's athletic scholarships, though they'll do that too. When biological boys are allowed to compete against girls in sports like track, where the differences in performance are so great, we are talking about girls getting shut out, never getting the chance to win or even compete at all. When two biological boys took the first and second place spots against me in the 2019 Indoor State Championship, I lost the opportunity to participate at the New England Championships. I lost the chance to be scouted by top coaches, possibly even to win scholarships. Right now, biological boys are being allowed to set records on the girls' team, deleting girls' records, erasing the achievements of actual girls, and setting a standard probably no girl can meet, no matter how much she trains or how hard she tries. The reason that we have girls' sports in the first place is to give female athletes with talent, hard work, and dedication an equal opportunity to shine and be recognized. But girls will never have that opportunity if they are forced to compete with biological boys in sports like track and field, softball, volleyball, or basketball. Maybe worst of all, when girls try to object, when we point out the truth that biological differences in strength and speed between boys and girls are massive and real, we're called bigots. Administrators, teachers, coaches, and other students tell us to just keep quiet and take it.
That's what I'm talking about. It's messed up, man. We gotta stop confusing emotions with reality. When it's hot, it's hot. Even if some people don't like the expression of being hot. Okay, I will not tell you I'm hot. But at the end of the day, I'm hot. The sun is beaming and I'm physically hot. I don't have no control over that. But for me to start thinking, because you don't like being hot, that I have to trick myself in thinking that I'm not hot is mind-blowing.
They're simple. The law should be that biological women compete against biological women, and the NCAA policy doesn't require the University of Pennsylvania to deny a fair playing field to women. It doesn't require that at all. In fact, what it's doing is prioritizing activists over women athletes, and by denying them a fair playing field, they're refusing again to recognize legitimate biological distinctions, and that hurts women and girls the most.
That's right. Leah Thomas, a transgender woman who previously competed for 3 years on the men's team, has set school and national records in women's swimming since coming out as trans in 2019.
Up is up, down is down. I don't care if I like up or I hate down. It is what it is. I get that a lot of people disagree. I feel that it comes more from an emotional point of view, not a realistic point of view. I got nothing but love for them. My gay community, my straight community, my bi community, my transgender community. Honestly, as long as you're a good human being, I respect you. So it doesn't come from a bad place or anything. I'm just looking at it from a physical status. For example, you cannot have a lightweight champion fight a heavyweight champion. It's not because I got something against skinny people.
Don't call me skinny. You know why? Because I'm not fucking skinny.
Or I got something against heavy people.
Are you calling me fat? I'm not even fat and you're calling me fat.
It's just the physical aspect of it. It's unfair because of the physical aspect. Listen, at the end of the day, it's not what you think that counts. It's the actions that count. Tell me what's in your mind, and if you think it's fair, on the comments below. Remember, don't forget to like, share, subscribe.
Like, share, subscribe.
At the end of the day, be smart, love yourself, but hey, what do I know?